October 21st, 2010, Officer Ken Bacher of the Kremlin Police Department attempted to make a traffic stop in the town of Kremlin. This stop resulted in a vehicle pursuit that ended outside of Hot Sulphur Springs, at which time the suspect fired 4 rounds from a handgun at members of the Kremlin Police Department. The Granby Police Department, Officer Bachman with Granby PD was there that night, and he's here with us. The Grand County Sheriff's Office and the Colorado State Patrol. Sergeant Jim Crocker of the Granby Police Department assumed command of the scene and immediately asked for additional assistance. Ken, who is not only Fraser Elementary School DARE officer and our less lethal instructor, but also a member of the Middle Park Emergency Response Team, immediately responded with his tactical equipment. By the time he arrived, the scene had stabilized and officers were dealing with an armed subject who had barricaded in her vehicle, refusing to surrender. Donning his protective gear, Ken was given the task of deploying a chemical agent into the vehicle to force the subject out and hopefully to surrender. Even though we have tools that enable us to safely deploy these agents from afar, Ken determined that this deployment would likely not work and might even further endanger the law enforcement officers at the scene. So at great personal risk, not knowing if the suspect was waiting to ambush them, Ken and Officer Todd Wilson of the Kremlin Police Department approached the rear of the vehicle behind a ballistic shield, at which time Ken then hand-deployed the chemical agent into the vehicle at a distance of less than 8 feet from the suspect. Now it's important to understand that our ballistic shields are approximately 24 inches wide and 30 inches tall, and you can see the size of Ken. Put 2 officers that size there, and you can see that it offers only minimal protection at best. But despite the danger, both officers waited for several moments at the rear of the vehicle to make sure that this chemical agent was working before they retreated. The agent did its job, and the suspect soon exited the vehicle, but instead of surrendering, laid down on the ground with her hands underneath her body. It was also reported by other officers that the suspect had been possibly carrying something, maybe a weapon, in her hands when she exited the vehicle. Despite numerous commands to show her hands and surrender, the suspect refused to comply and only cursed at the officers who were attempting to save her very life. Under Sergeant Crocker's direction, Ken, Todd Wilson, and Sheriff Sergeant Derek Strouch then formed an arrest team and once again approached the suspect from behind the shield. Numerous commands were given for the suspect to surrender, and again she refused, at which time Ken deployed his taser into her back, which stunned but did not immediately incapacitate her. After a short struggle, the officers were able to handcuff her and take her safely into custody. In closing, I'm reminded of the words of Sir Winston Churchill, who said, "To every man there comes in his lifetime that special moment when he is figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered the chance to do a very special thing, unique to him and fitted to his talents." When Ken Wright was tapped on the shoulder and asked to do a very special thing, he did so and did it with a tremendous amount of nobility. Ken, on behalf of the towns of Fraser and Winter Park, we're humbled to know you. We're proud to work alongside you. And we thank you for modeling what a guardian should be, for displaying exemplary character and courageous performance on October 21st, 2010, by knowingly placing your life at significant risk in order to effect the arrest of an armed and dangerous suspect. You are hereby awarded the Fraser Winter Park Police Department's Medal of Distinguished Service.